Let's Talk Steelers is sponsored by Italian Village Pizza, Lawrenceville Distilling. Enjoy their handcrafted spirits. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Call Italian Village Pizza on Steelers game day and say, "Let's talk Steelers." And any size pizza is buy one, get one free. Takeout or delivery. Let's talk Steelers.
You know, that sucked, to be blunt. Not the type of ball we want to play, and really kind of eerily similar to our last performance in that we're not doing the fundamental things well enough. We're turning the ball over. We're not getting turnovers, and that hadn't been a recipe for us, but it has been of late. You're -2 or whatever we were in this game, man. You're not giving yourself a chance, particularly turning the ball over in the red zone. We had balls on the ground early. We had a ball on the ground on a punt team early. We didn't cover it. We had a ball tipped up in the air that could have provided our offense a short field. We didn't catch it. We're not being opportunistic on the defense or the special team side when given an opportunity. We had balls on the ground and turnover opportunities a week ago that we didn't capitalize on. And then we're not securing it on offense. And so you're running on the beach when you're performing like that, coupled with lack of situational playmaking, red zone defense, making people settle for field goals as opposed to touchdowns. The games are going to look like that. Got to score more than 10 points against an outfit like that. And so, you know, you can look at it from a lot of angles. The bottom line is junior varsity is not good enough. We got to own that. But we also got to look at what it is we need to do different. We're not going to continue to do the same things and hope for a different result. That doesn't seem sharp to me. And so we're going to take a hard look at this. We got a couple extra days before we get back into it. We're going to take a look at it and make whatever necessary changes we need to make.
Huddle up, Steelers Nation. It's Tank. Let's talk Steelers. Well, the old quarterback, he's down with the flu. Couldn't lace up his cleats to be with me as we analyze this Chiefs game. Well, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's to you. Your Pittsburgh Steelers have lost to three of the very best teams in the NFL. We knew that the 2024 schedule was laden with easy teams up front, and the real litmus test for your Steelers was going to be, well, when we got into the Eagles, the Ravens, now the Chiefs at home on Christmas Day. There's a real sense of deja vu when you look back at all three games, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. I know a lot of us, I know I did, I had optimism as we were heading into Philadelphia. You know, Coach Tomlin likes to talk about a team on the rise, especially in December, meaning that you know what you've got, you know your best assets, you know your weapons, and you're seeing your team congeal. Well, when we went into Philadelphia, there was a sense of optimism that your Steelers could manhandle or at least get a Boswell field goal to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Against the Ravens, well, we knew that was going to be a tough matchup in Baltimore against, well, last year's team MVP. And a lot of people say that Lamar Jackson is destined to be the MVP this year as well. A few penalties, a few turnovers, and both the Eagles game and Ravens game kind of look the same. As your Steelers matched up against, well, what is now looking like the AFC's very best, if not the NFL's very best team in 2024, the Chiefs. It was deja vu all over again. Key moments of the game when balls were left on the ground by Freiermuth, interceptions, penalties. Your Steelers seemed to be in the game in the first half. Then all of a sudden, things went awry, and the Chiefs did what they do best. Patrick Mahomes, without any pressure on him, from any pressured rushes to throw, any sacks, anybody even touching him, worked his rattlesnake magic, because that's what he is. Patrick Mahomes is a rattlesnake that will bite you when you least suspect. Then all of a sudden, Your Steelers met their decline, they met their Waterloo, and the Chiefs just kept putting up points and just kept laughing all the way to that locker room when Andy Reid dressed up like Santa Claus, because they gave themselves the very best Christmas gift the Chiefs could have given themselves, was home field advantage and that #1 seed in the AFC. You know, before we get into what went wrong against the Chiefs, I want to talk about what went right. Again, this offensive line, much maligned the last several years, is doing a pretty good job with 2 rookies with, well, Zach Frazier at center and McCormick at right guard, holding their own. Of course, Jones had his problems at the beginning of the year with a lot of holding, a lot of missteps, playing out there on that island of rack tackle. He's come along. He's come a long way since game 1 in 2024. And of course, your left side of your line, well, they have pretty much kept Russell Wilson's uniform clean throughout most of Wilson's starts this year, with Sayamalu and Danny Moore playing left tackle. So I do want to give props to the offensive line. One of the reasons I say that is they're opening holes for Jaylen Warren. You know, Mike, the quarterback, always tells me, Tank, quit living in the past. Quit bringing up Randy Fichtner. Quit bringing up Matt Canada. You know, there is no doubt Arthur Smith is a much better coordinator than both Matt Canada and Randy Fichtner. With Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, he's got a double threat, thunder and lightning, as it were. Of course, Najee being the thunder. I don't see why Arthur Smith tries to keep getting Najee to the outside. It does bear fruit on occasion, but the fumble that cost us maybe the game, the lack of yardage, the drop balls by Najee to the outside, that's not his comfort zone. He is a big running back. He's as big as most linebackers in the NFL. You need to stick with Najee up the middle, the A gap. That's the gap beside the center and guard. You need to run Najee in the B gap, the gap between the center and the tackle. Quit trying to run him to the outside. Why is that? Because you have, well, Jaylen Warren, who amongst you doesn't think, if used properly, he could be the feature back in a lot of other offenses. Jaylen Warren is a legitimate threat who can hit the hole like lightning and pick you up 10, 15, 20 yards. When the offensive line and Najee and Jaylen are working, the running game, the pound and ground game, which Mr. Rooney himself said he wanted to see back in the Pittsburgh game plan this year, that is an incredible running offense. The other positive takeaway, well, George Pickens is one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. If George can get his head on right, mature, grow, realize there is, well, the old saying, there is no I in team, George. It's a team effort on every single play, man. Means you got to block when you don't want to block. Means you got to sell your route to fake the corner, fake the safety, even though you know Jaylen's getting the ball. But there is no doubt that George Pickens is one of the top 3 receivers in the NFL. And look, I understand his frustrations last year with Matt Canada's offense. Matt Canada did not know how to use, well, he didn't know how to use Washington. He didn't use Freiermuth. He didn't use Jaylen Warren. And he certainly didn't know how to use the incredible potential Hall of Fame talent in George Pickens. Matt Canada would just send him down the sideline for a throw ball. There's no doubt as we look at that Chiefs game that George Pickens, well, he's a game changer. He is a legitimate threat. So that's the positives from the Chiefs' loss here at, well, Acrisure Stadium on Christmas Day.
Lawrenceville Distilling, proud sponsor of Let's Talk Steelers.
Let's Talk Steelers is sponsored by Italian Village Pizza, Lawrenceville Distilling. Enjoy their handcrafted spirits. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Call Italian Village Pizza on Steelers game day and say, "Let's talk Steelers." And any size pizza is buy one, get one free. Takeout or delivery. Let's talk Steelers.
Ho, 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 Steelers Nation. Christmas time is right around the corner. You know, Charlie Batch's foundation does some incredible work working with youth right here in Pittsburgh. Why not help out Charlie's kids this holiday season? Log on to batchfoundation.org, batchfoundation.org, and you can learn how to donate some cash or toys for Charlie's kids through Batch of Toys for the holiday season. Again, Charlie's Foundation does some incredible work here in the Pittsburgh area, bringing some holiday cheer to Pittsburgh families. So log on to batchfoundation.org to learn out how you can be Santa Claus too.
Is what I love to do, even on days like today. I love the game. I love working with that group in there. We're not performing the way that we need to. We'll stay down and keep working. Said about him that hadn't been said in terms of his talents and his knowledge of the offense, his relationship with his eligibles, his understanding of where people are, etc. But when I think about today, man, I think about the short fields we gave him. The first touchdown drive was 40 yards. We turned the ball over in the second half. I think it was a 20-something yard drive in that half. And so, you know, I know a guy like him with his talent level and resume, you can't give him short fields and things of that nature. And so, you know, that's where my energies are, what we can control, what we do, respectfully.
A lot of your offensive plays seem to be taking a long time to develop. Why is that? What can be done about it?
You know, I don't know what specifically you're referring to. I probably need a little bit more detail, but obviously, you know, we're not performing to the level that we'd like. We're not executing.
You know, we're so used to seeing Highsmith and Watt just devastate and stalk quarterbacks week in, week out. They had absolutely no effect on Patrick Mahomes this past weekend. No touches on him, no sacks on him, no pressure on him. Patrick Mahomes was comfortable back there and went about working his magic. I really want to focus what I think is the Achilles heel for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Look, it's not your kicking game. You got one of the best kickers in the league in Boswell. You got one of the best punters in the league. Your offensive backfield, well, you got a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson, Deshaun Elliott and Dante Jackson, Joey Porter, of course Minkah Fitzpatrick make up that secondary for your Pittsburgh Steelers team. Now look, I know that we've had some injuries back there. Joey Porter may have been playing injured on Sunday against the Chiefs, the very best passing team in the NFL. There's a couple problems. James Pierre does not have cover speed. He just doesn't. In my humble opinion, he should be playing strong safety. He's not fast enough to cover at the cornerback position. When you look at the Chiefs secondary, there's one thing that stands out about the Chiefs secondary, which makes their defense formidable. I think they're number 4 or 5 in the NFL right now. They like to hit. Your Steelers secondary does not like to hit, without an exception of maybe Minkah Fitzpatrick. You know, I went back through the last couple games, the Eagles, the Ravens, and now the Chiefs. Dante Jackson does not like to hit. That is very apparent to me. You cannot have a defensive back, a corner, who does not like to tackle, who does not like to hit people. Go back, watch the Eagles games, watch the Ravens game, watch the Chiefs game. He does not like to hit. He does not like to tackle. This is unacceptable, and this is one of the reasons you're getting picked apart, well, by Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and the rattlesnake, Patrick Mahomes. It's time for Peyton Wilson to play every single snap, whether it be run, whether it be pass down. You know, when Patrick Queen came here, I thought we were getting a really solid step up because it's been a long dry spell at linebacker, at least 5 or 6 years. Patrick Queen started the season out as a thumper, meaning he liked to hit. As you watch the season progress, 2 things. On pass coverage, if the pass is in front of him, whether it's man, whether it's zone, Patrick Queen can make the tackle. But he gets lost when he's in a zone coverage and he's got to look for other receivers coming into his zone, even the tight ends. They get lost behind him. He gets lost in coverage. You've seen him throughout the season turning around and yelling at the safeties. It's not the safeties, Minkah Fitzpatrick, that's been out of position. He looks very uncomfortable in pass production. The other thing I've noticed too, again, he started out the season, Patrick Queen, as a thumper. More and more, he's doing what you can't have an inside linebacker do, and that is hold up and slow up before he makes a tackle on a running back. We used to call it filling the hole. A linebacker, well, think Brian Urlacher, think Jack Lambert, think Dick Butkus. They've got to fill the hole with ferocity, meanness, and anger, and be ready to devastate a running back. I literally saw Patrick Queen stop in the hole before Kareem Hunt blasted him and ran him over for 4 yards. It's time to play Peyton Wilson and damn the torpedoes at inside linebacker along with Roberts. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Joe Moore Award that went to Army this year.
Lawrenceville Distilling, proud sponsor of Let's Talk Steelers.
Russ, what does this offense need to do to get going?
You know, I think that first of all, we just have to play cleaner. You know, that's gonna be the first part. I think the second part is we're gonna have to study the film and see where we're doing things really well. There's some moments. I mean, we scored a touchdown, got called back. You know, just those things that happen. In key situations, and then I think at the end of the day, there's going to be adversity in every season, and it comes in different spaces and places and different times. I'm betting on our guys and who we are and how we're going to respond. I really believe in who we are, the character of guys, the mentality that we have. It's been a tough road, obviously, the past 3 weeks, and we haven't been able to overcome some of the challenges along the way. And that's going to be. We got to make that a good thing for us. At the end of the day, when you look back at it all, and hope when we get the chance to play in the playoffs, it becomes 0-0. You know what I mean? It's that's the truth of the playoffs and now.
If you were watching the Army-Navy game, as you and I were texting back and forth, you heard mentioned during the game that the Army offensive line was awarded the Joe Moore Offensive Line Award. Mike, I played under Coach Moore at the University of Pittsburgh. You have the Heisman Trophy, you have the Outland Trophy. The Joe Moore Award goes to the best offensive line in the country. The Washington Huskies have won it, the University of Michigan. For the Army football team to win that award, it's a very, very prestigious award annually given to, again, the best offensive line unit in the country. When you were playing pro ball, whether it was for the Vikings or Lions or Eagles, how important is your O-line? They get overlooked all the time, Mike.
Well, first and foremost, I've never played for Joe Moore, but you've heard his name thrown about throughout all football. All the coaches have talked about it, from the NFL down to the college to high schools. And, he was a coach at Notre Dame. He actually was recruiting the Western PA area. Now, I never got a chance to directly communicate with him, but it was at one point he was recruiting me. But everyone, he's well respected throughout the game. All the O-line coaches, my former center in Philadelphia with the Eagles, Hank Fraley, worked with Joe Moore, well respected, and now he's the offensive line coach with the Detroit Lions. So anyone that Joe Moore has really coached or contacted, he's got that coaching tree underneath him, and you just see all the great O-lines that have come from his coaching tree. But when it comes to football, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, you can be great with the X's and O's, but if you cannot be physical up front and control the trenches, obviously O-line, D-line, but that's where it's won. You can have this great scheme, but at the end of the day, football is won up front, and typically those guys are the kind of like the unsung heroes. You don't hear their name in the media. You don't hear them names in the highlights, but they're the most important piece.
Coach Moore had a saying, there is no greater pleasure than moving a man from point A to point B. And I just got chills thinking about
imposing your will.
Oh,
his.
It's a beautiful feeling. And if you look at Coach Moore's career and, the guys he put into the NFL, we're talking guys like Russ Grimm, Jimbo Covert, some of those legendary names that when you think of offensive line play, they were taught by the greatest offensive line coach ever in the college ranks in Joe Moore. I go to the camp every year, I video, I get to do some coaching with the younger kids, high school kids. I highly recommend, Mike's been there with us, I highly recommend if you have a high school student in the Western Pennsylvania, Ohio area, and he's an offensive lineman, look into the Joe Moore Offensive Line Camp held every year in June in the local Pittsburgh area, and some of those names like Jimbo Covert, Russ Grimm are the coaches that'll be teaching your kid. This year I was at camp, I caught up, he was a rookie at the time, we didn't know how he was going to play, Zach Frazier. Jimbo Covert was there this year. So let's take a look at this year's Joe Moore camp held in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Take me home. Shut up, I'm singing. Take me home, country roads, to the place
where I belong.
West Virginia. You know what? 4-time state champion wrestler. What's your name?
Zach.
That's not it. That's not.
Was it?
It's Zach.
Yeah.
You got a nickname?
No, it's just Zach.
We got to get you a nickname. You can't be an NFL center and not have a nickname.
Yeah.
Like, what would we call you?
I don't know. I'll let some other people pick that.
The Beast.
I don't know.
Yeah. When you come into the NFL, it's an overwhelming experience. The pressure that is now on you to make some money, the pressure to, become everything you can become. You may someday be like Russ Grimm in the Hall of Fame. You may be a bust. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? Where's your head going into camp?
Yeah, I'm just, trying to take in all the information, just really trying to get a little bit better every day. That's all I can do is just, not look ahead to those things and just take it one day at a time and just really improve as much as I can and really get improve as much as I can as fast as I can.
Yeah, I think that's the prudent thing, slow but steady. If you
Yeah.
put too much on your shoulders,
Yeah.
there's an expectation there. We were joking about wrestling before. I wrestled as well, but I was certainly not a 4-time state champion in West Virginia. That has to translate to being a good offensive lineman.
Yeah, it helps out a lot. Really, every play there's some component of wrestling involved. You're using your hands, you're using leverage, you're using just knowing how to move people, like stuff like that. It's just every play you're putting your hands on someone.
Putting your hands on someone.
Yeah.
It's funny, Zach mentioned about putting your hands and moving someone. Coach Moore's, which we put on is it on the back of my shirt? His
Yep,
fit.
there's no greater
Say it.
greater feeling than moving a man from point A to point B against his will.
There is no greater feeling than moving a man from point A to B against his will. Wrestling's the same way, man.
Yeah.
Especially if some dude's real cocky,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just you and him.
It's
One-on-one.
you and him. All right, so you're a Pittsburgh Steelers now.
Yep.
Friends, families, what has the reaction been? I mean,
Oh,
what's that like? Were you at the draft? Would you get a call?
Oh no, I was back home in West Virginia. Just had a bunch of family and friends there. It was amazing. If I could have picked, this is where I would be. So
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a Cleveland Brown?
No. Just like this is a dream come true, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what number did they assign you?
54.
54.
Yep.
Is that the number you wanted?
Yeah. That's the number I've always worn. So.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's nice. You get your own number. Now all the veterans are just going to abuse you. You got to pay for dinner one night for the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Can I borrow $20? I mean, what the heck? That bill's going to be like $4,000.
Yeah.
My 20 that I'm
Yeah.
asking you for is nothing.
Yeah, that's funny.
Tell them, yeah, we can go to Wendy's.
Yeah, there you go.
We get Wendy's.
Yeah.
Look, brother, I wish you the best of luck. Remember Coach Moore saying, when you're out there's no greater thrill than moving Cam Hayward or TJ Watt
Yeah.
from a position.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
We're from the town with a great football team.